friends, welcome back to my channel. It is time for me to do a follow-up edition of what I'm keeping and what's going back to the store from the Ulta purchase I did a few weeks ago. I have tested out the products for the most part and I have some feedback to give you guys, and I'm going to also share with you what is going back to the store. So we'll start with the one thing that I haven't managed to test out yet, and that is the Formula 10.0.6 Clear Skin Starts Here. The reason I haven't used this yet is because I'm trying to work through a few of my other skincare items before I test this out, because I do want to try this out kind of as like a full skincare routine to see if I like all the components of it. So once I work through some of those items, I will then pull this out. So this is kind of just remaining on standby until then. All right, we'll go ahead and do a low note and then a high note. The first thing I'm returning is the Ulta Beauty Favorites 7-piece favorites kit. As I was playing with this kit, I found that I really don't like the eyeshadows in here. They just are really powdery, don't have much payoff. It's difficult to pick up two of these colors on my actual brush. I just find that you're just not getting much of an impact with these. So they're not something that I'm gonna wanna actually commit myself to panning. And so as soon as this came out of the ability for me to like the kit, it went down really fast from there because I'm not a fan of pencil liners. So now that's two things I don't like. The brow product in here I won't use, so that's 3 items I don't really like. I found that this juice infused lip oil didn't really do anything. It just kind of like slid around my lips and wasn't a really great texture. So now we're up to 4 items that I didn't like out of the 7. And then the mascara, I found that this just didn't really do a whole lot for my lashes. The brush just kind of very generic, and I've had some really great success with mascaras lately, and this just felt really subpar. I did like the illuminator that came in here. This is in the shade Radiant Diamond. It is a pretty color when you see it here. Like, I do like that, but it's not enough for me to want to keep the entire kit, so this thing is going back. I also tested out the matte setting spray and it was fine, but again, to only really like 2 out of the 7 items is not enough for me to want to keep the kit. However, I do have a success, and that is these travel makeup removing cloths. I was super skeptical about these. I have seen people do reviews of these and I'm still just like, yeah, but like, would it really do it? Like, I'm not really still convinced. So I have to say, these easily remove my makeup. All I have to do is dampen it and wipe the makeup away. I will cut to me showing you guys actually removing my makeup. My only complaint, and this is kind of not their fault, it's my own, is that I got the travel sizes. And so essentially by the time I'm done removing my makeup, as I'll show you in the cutaway right now, I use a good portion of the towel up. And so for me to say that this is gonna last me an entire week, not so much. Now, it's helpful that you have 2 because between the 2, you'll be able to go through it, but I would just rather have one full one. I also followed the instructions and washed these, but I do not dry them. I let them air dry. They are very, very soft. Definitely going to be a game changer for me once I'm done working through some of my makeup removers that I have in my collection. I'll probably stop buying them and try to use these exclusively to see how long these would actually last before needing to be replaced, but definitely recommend these, especially if you can get them on a sale. Ulta does a lot of sales with their own line, and so if you can get them for half off or buy one get one free, definitely makes this worth it, but they really do work and I've been really happy with them. On the bad list, going back to the store, it's the Ulta Beauty Get Up and Glow Duochrome Liquid Highlighter Kit. I so wanted this to work. I really wanted this to be like a Becca replacement, but they just aren't. When you see them in the tube, you're like, oh, those colors, they're really pretty. But alas, when you see them swatched out, you'll notice that they are just chunky glitter, which I am not a fan of. So I don't feel like the camera is picking up the like glittery speck nature of this, but I assure you, these just are not nice on your skin, and so I would not recommend them. Don't plan on keeping them. They're going back to the store. However, on a high note, keeping this, I'm keeping the Ulta Beauty 50 Sun Protection Broad Spectrum Rose Water Setting Spray Matte Finish. I've been playing with this, even though, to be honest, my intended use for this was to use it more as just sunscreen for my face in the summer months. I did actually test it out. As far as the rose water scent, not really a selling feature for me on this, but it is effective at keeping you matte. When you first apply it, you definitely can notice that your skin mattifies, but not in a way where you feel necessarily dry, and I do feel like it has kept me more matte than typically. I'm not someone who's super oily, but I tend to get sweaty throughout the day because my classroom temperature can really vary. It can spike to 80, it can drop to 65, so like I'm doing a lot of stuff with sweat, and this definitely does help keep me sweat proof. My only complaint is that when I spray it, I have two complaints. My first complaint is that when I spray it, I have to really spray a lot to cover my face. The actual mist, as maybe you can see here, it doesn't have much of a like circumference that it will cover. However, it is a fine mist. It also has a mint type of scent to it. I don't know if that's the sunscreen smell that I'm getting or if that's their attempt at a rose water scent, but I do notice that it leaves a cooling finish, but the my eyelids typically sting a little bit. It's nothing that's like super painful where I feel like, oh my god, my eyes are burning, but I definitely have noticed that it does leave some kind of tingling sensation on my eyelids. It eventually will go away, but it is noticeable compared to the rest of my skin, but not enough for me to want to stop using this. I do think this is nice. I can't speak to its like SPF effects because I haven't really worn it in my intended use, but this summer if I do pull it out and start using it, I'll probably report back to you guys in a favorites video. And the last thing that I have, I'm kind of indifferent about. This is the Ulta Beauty Smarts New Hue Shadow Switching Pan. It looks like this. It's basically supposed to be like a dupe for the, I think it's like the color switch ones. I don't necessarily feel like I'm the right person to review this because I don't really need to use these. I'm someone who has enough brushes in my collection where I don't ever need to use the same brush again when I'm doing any kind of eye look or face look, but I wanted to get it anyways because I've always been very curious about how these will actually work. It did remove the product because I did actually test it out one day, and it removed it well enough that I was able to still apply another shade and it not be any different than it normally would have looked had I applied it with a brand new brush. But the one thing to keep in mind is that this is square, and so when you're going to clean your brush, it is a little bit awkward to go in a circle motion with a square box. I also noticed that with just a couple of brushes, it did leave like residue in there, so I'm wondering like how easily this thing will get essentially burnt out and need to be replaced. The other thing to know is that the center one is for cream shadows. I didn't actually test that out because I didn't have any cream shadows that I wanted to play with, but I mean it worked and it got the job done, but I'm not someone who relies on this too heavily, so take my review with this as like a grain of salt. Like I think I'm glad I have it and maybe I'll travel with it, but it's not like a new staple in my makeup collection per se. Alright guys, that is it for me. I'm now going to bring my butt to Ulta and return some of these things that I did not find to be successful. If you've tried any of these, let me know in the comments below, or if you have any suggestions for the Ulta line that you think are really good and worthwhile, let me know in the comments below, and I'll talk to you in my next video real soon. Bye!